Whoa. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back, depending on whether you've been with us before. I'm Emily, and this is,
Tiana.
and we are here to help you and each other build your life beyond belief. Applause track.
You said applause. Look at me, not ready this morning. I was gonna say, I am definitely still waking up. Here's the applause. I'm still waking up. I'm waking up to one, the title of this episode. I know when we were thinking about like what to talk about, like the periods in life where you're kind of isolated, but then there's like the time when you want to isolate a little bit. So ergo island time.
Ayo.
And I know, at least in this last week, I think I talked to you all last week about routines and like what that looks like, and how there has been a season of me being like kind of isolated. And now knowing that like it's okay to ask for help. I actually talked to one of my neighbors a couple days ago about like not knowing when you're asking for too much and being so focused on the asking too much time that you isolate yourself even further because you're focusing on something that the other person may not be aware of.
Yeah. I think there's so much in communication that it's like our responsibility to communicate. So I think that so many times we're just kind of like, oh, well, like I don't want to burden someone. I don't want to, put this on them, whatever. And in order to build connection and relationship, we have a responsibility to communicate. And like people can always say no. It's not like you force someone's hand if you ask them for something. It's not like, you're putting them in a bad situation or something like that. And so many times I know I feel that way. I'm just like, well, I don't want to like, put too much on them. I don't know if they have the bandwidth. But, in the same way that it's our responsibility to communicate, like, I need help, or, like, will you help me with this? Which also, like, asking for help also builds connection. Um, it's their responsibility to communicate whether or not they have bandwidth. And so it's kind of like both things. I know as full people, we both have people that we want to ask for help and people who ask us for help. So, in the same way that at this point in my journey, I'm working on asking for help, I'm also working on, okay, like I love you. I want to help you. Also, I don't have the bandwidth right now. Or can we do that next week because I really want to be there for you. So it's just kind of like putting the responsibility where it belongs. So it's my responsibility to ask for help, and it's also my responsibility to say I don't have the bandwidth for that. And so um if I look at it that way, then I never feel like I'm putting somebody in a bad situation, because I'm like, okay, it's their responsibility to tell me whether they have space for that. And I'm not going to take that on by being like, oh, it bothers them, because it might be something that they're excited to help you with.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, and I appreciate how you broke it down from that like perspective of like we're all people and we all have the choice to say yes or no. But if you're in your journey, like many of us may be, and you're still focusing on at this point controlling other people, because that's literally like what it sounds like, and not controlling yourself. you know I know I've talked to you in the past about like how you might get fixated on someone's outcome because you don't know if they'll be mad with you, or if you'll come off needy, or if somehow what you're asking for shows reveals something about you, like whether I know my my brother's girlfriend, she's good at like I think maintaining like spaces, like keeping things organized. And a couple weeks ago before our trip, she helped me like to just think through like how to better organize the down floor of my house. And a version of me would have been like, "Oh no, Tiana, you should know how to do that, right?" So there's like self-judgment and like not asking for help, but like realizing like if someone knows how to do something either better or has more experience doing it with you than you should ask them. Like I feel like the power of social media nowadays is that we get to see behind the curtain of folks that we always wondered about. Like, let's say, for example, celebrities. Like, how do they get that done? You get clips and stuff like that. But like, there are people who know a lot of stuff right next to you. And so asking them for help, that's something that's important to do.
Yeah.
But also, I think one last thing is just more of like, you need to know what you're a resource for. So, like what you said earlier about, like, let's say, for example, you asked the wrong person for help. So, I just gave you an example of asking someone who knows how to do something well for help. But, like, I've also done the thing where if you're in a period of like needing and you're not like clear, and you might have been, a con of island time is that you could be drowning on an island with no one there and no one to help you. So then you're kind of just flailing and asking everyone. So you need to make sure that you're not in that state when you're asking for help. Because then, yeah, you might get people like, oh, I don't want to help that person. Oh, that's going to be too much. You need to be like in a state of control, I think.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think as I process everything that you said, um, it absolutely is. There's also like just people who aren't interested in helping, or maybe aren't in a season where they can help, but they can't communicate it in a way that's kind.
Mm.
So like you could be sitting there like asking for help, and if you're asking in the wrong spaces, I think like you said, like the resource, like it's not just like do they have the knowledge of how to do the thing, but do they have like the emotional awareness to understand that like it may be difficult for you to ask for help. I know that I recently did a very similar thing. I like to think of myself as a beautiful creative. I don't necessarily, I will have a fun project spread about my apartment, but it's not necessarily like tidy. So I have a friend who keeps a very tidy house, like kind of back to our don't ask for advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with. I would absolutely take her organized house any day. So I'm just kind of like, okay, like, can you come help me? And the caveat is that, I just went through a breakup. I think I mentioned that last episode. And I had like all these boxes still of stuff in my apartment. And I finally got the last boxes out. Yay. But there is stuff on every surface in my apartment. And so I was really embarrassed, and I was asking her, I was just kind of like, I know you said before you'd help me come and like unpack and organize, but like, it probably took me like 2 weeks to ask her just because of the mental block in my head. Because I was like, okay, I'll ask her, but I want to like clean up a little bit first so that it's not this bad. It is bad.
Mm.
So I asked her finally, and the beautiful thing that happened from it, like this is the beautiful thing of asking someone who has space, asking someone who has the expertise. And so she came over, and a lot of it wasn't even her necessarily doing something. It was someone being there with me, focused on a task. So I think we've talked about body doubling before. So someone being there to support me doing the thing that I don't want to do. And that I do want to do, but I don't necessarily stay focused on. And so through that, though, like she was able to come over here, and we created new memories in my space. So, where I had some bad memories from maybe a past relationship or something like that, we brought new life to my apartment. We organized things together in a way where we could kind of think through it in a way that made sense. And just kind of like having that time with her, because I was vulnerable with her and I shared my disorganized space. She was then also able to be vulnerable with me with some stuff that was going on in her life. And we have an even deeper connection and friendship. And now I'm like, okay, like when I am my messiest, most vulnerable self, I'm learning that it's okay to like trust and to confide in people, and to even invite them into like that messiest part of me. And I won't be like judged for it. She'll just try to look for the places that she can help, and she'll love me through the rest. So that was the beautiful thing that happened from the uncomfortable piece of me asking for help.
No man is an island. Like, yeah, that asking for help and finding the support you need, which it seems like it was closer than you thought, right? Like, I know for me, sometimes I find myself like thinking like it's somewhere else. It can be closer too.
And to that point, like, you know, how many things do we put off because we're like, okay, well, I'll be in a better space for it next week. Like, I'll have my apartment more clean next week. I will be ready to start that podcast next week. I will be ready to do a retreat next week. Like, I'll be able to start start working out next week. Like, then I'll be less busy. Then I'll be less cluttered. And I think part of this is like, you're not by yourself. You're not on an island. Now is just as good of a time as any, and it doesn't have to be perfect for you to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Something else that came up for me this week was more so embracing who you are now. And so when you're talking about like right now, not next week, but right, like literally just embracing who you are right now. And that's just like thinking about, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, it's like you looking like, oh, I want to be more like that, or you want to be more like this, or you want to more of that, more of this, more of that, but not like enjoying who you are right now, what you have, because you woke up this morning, you're breathing, you're able to still do most things the way you have always been able to do it independently. And so being grateful for that allows you to do at least more things. I know I called you and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many things going on. And I woke up this morning and I'm like, I'm grateful for all the things that I have going on, you know, and like slowing down and deciding which thing to work on is something I need help with. Like I've like literally was looking and I was like, okay, what's the best strategy for managing a lot of things? Because in life, especially when you're in the thick of living life, the things don't get less. You have to get better at creating systems. Systems. I have like a whole segment that I am working on like systems. So I'm excited about talking about that in future episodes. But yeah, systems.
Yeah. It's funny because when I started using ChatGPT, one of the things that I wanted to do was like help me create like an agenda page so that I can like have my like little like daily check these things off, do these things, and I can organize my life. And everything was about organizing my life. And it was the only thing that ChatGPT really knew about me. So it was like, oh, like you're an organizer. Like you're so good at keeping things organized. You like your habit trackers. And I was like, no, actually, that's just the person I'm trying to be. Because,
Striving,
yeah,
thriving to be.
I'm like, that's what I want. I love that you think that I'm there. But like, I'm trying to put these systems in place so that I can be that person. Because, like you said, like, life levels up and it's our choice whether we're going to level up too. Are you going to stay down here? Or are you going to get up to the boss level? Like I'm headed for that boss level. So I was like, no, chat, I don't have it yet. Can you help me? Like back to my embarrassment. Like, actually, can you help me? Because I don't know how to do it yet.
It's funny when you said that. I think a part of getting there is believing that you're already there, right? So chat's like letting you know you're already there. It's in
Yes.
you. It's already there. It's already in you. Don't deny it. But I hear you also that you're like, reality is,
Yeah.
I
Like,
gotta like. I think that starts with slowing down a bit, like the routine or like being able to get to where you want to be. And another thing, when think about the name of the episode being Island Time, you know how when you go on a trip and you really don't keep track of the time, you know? I think one of the things that we do is how long is it taking me to get to XYZ destination? And so like embracing island time for your life might be a strategy within itself for allowing you the space. I'm someone who's pretty like anxious about like, oh, I got to get this done by this time. I got to get this done. It has to be like this. It has to be. And so that keeps me in a perpetual cycle of like sometimes not being able to slow down and do the work. So some of the feedback that I was giving myself yesterday was just like, you just need to slow down and complete tasks. And the easiest way to do that is to write it down and then do like a basic task list. But in this era of go, 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 like it's like I was like, dude, is there even time to do that? I was like, but if I'm on island time, there's plenty of time. Because the
I
time is doesn't exist the same. Anyway, that was my thought.
living in Florida, island time is my way of life already. If anything, I'm like on the other side of the spectrum. Like, yeah, I'm on island time. We have time for that. Don't worry, we have time for that. And then there isn't time for that. And so like I am constantly like, oh no, I should have looked at the clock. Oh no, like I'm already like I'm it's a beautiful, whimsical gift that I have to be on island time. And also, you know, like I live in the real world, clocks exist. It is definitely something that I try to balance on the other side because then once I do realize, oh no, like time has passed, then I'm just kind of, what? Like now I don't have time for anything. And then I freak out. I know we were talking this week about that, like, wait, no, I have so many things to do. And then it's like cue freak out mode right here. And we were talking about the fact that sometimes the first step is freaking out. Sometimes it's not that sometimes you have a lot of energy around something and it's not that you have to avoid for like, okay, I don't have time to freak out. I'm gonna go do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And like you're not thinking logically, you're thinking so emotionally that you really need to like spend 5 to 10 minutes to get that freak out. And then you can actually like engage your entire mind instead of spending like, 20% of your energy to hold off the freak out and then 80% of your energy to make a plan. You can then spend 100% of your energy thinking like, okay, I got the energy out around this. I know how I feel about it. I've processed that. Now let's get into what our planning is. And so I think that's what you mean kind of by like slowing down. It's like, okay, like I know I'm freaked out. I know that this is where I am right now. How do I get to the next step? It's not even, I think you were saying yesterday, it's not even like, how do I get here? It's what is the next thing? What is the next thing to keep some momentum going on each little thing that I'm trying to do in my life?
No, I heard all of what you said. Not everyone is as fortunate as you to live in island time all the time, Florida lady. But yes, I think that is where I was getting at. Yes, and I was also talking about understanding removing time from how you process could be an attribute or a benefit in a sense of like you're not worried about when you get to a destination. So that destination could be completing a project. I think it just depends on like your live situation. So going a step deeper with me, something that I struggle with is like the constant feeling of anxiety. So like when trying to do a task, it's never peaceful. So then if you're doing the work and you're not doing it from a peaceful state because you're worried about time, then you don't have the quality of work you were doing. So I was trying to get at the point of like allowing yourself not to feel the stress of doing a task, but be in the moment. But also, to Emily's point, you also have to live in the real world and know that there is a date or a deadline or a time frame for a project to be completed. But I was really trying to dive into like embracing that feeling of not worrying when you're working on a task like you do when you're on island time. But apparently, Emily doesn't feel that anxiety, or maybe she does, and I just misunderstood because I was like, she's like, nah, island time. It's always chill. In my life, it's always like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's only 5 minutes for this, or there's only 10 minutes for this. And so then it makes me feel anxious about time all the time. And what I liked about the idea of island time is that it removes that stress of tracking time.
Yeah.
But that's where my head was at.
I totally see you. And I feel it. I do feel it. I don't feel it as much as like when sometimes I feel like the real world is like when I go to visit my family or I do a work trip or something like that. Cause like I do go back into like, I'll go back into DC and I'll exist there for a few days. And it's just a totally different vibe than being by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get back into who I was back then because it was, hustle culture. And it was like, okay, we have 10 minutes to do this. We have these plans tonight. Like it was so go, go, go. And I really enjoyed it for that season. So something that I am grateful for. And sometimes I wonder if I could go back into like the mainland type of life.
Oh my gosh.
Just because
She's the funniest person.
It's different. It is different. I will say though, like I do feel the type of anxiety that you're talking about with the goals that I have and the things that I want to do. Like I do want, I want that final thing right now. I want I want to finish the project. I want to do the thing. And then I think, okay, well, how do I know I said in the last episode, I get stressed about, oh my God, there's only 52 weeks in the year. There's only 4 weeks this month. Like, how am I going to get all of these pieces together by then? And I like start to freak out. But I also am trying, like, there's two pieces of this for me that I try to slow myself down with. I focus so much on doing things joyfully. I think there's so much value in doing things joyfully. And sometimes I try to organize my day around when I can joyfully do something. When will I be able to joyfully do that today? Even doing the dishes. I know this seems ridiculous, but like, I remember having fights with people that I've dated because I was like, I can't joyfully do the dishes right now. I want to joyfully do the dishes. And they're like, this is an excuse. You just don't want to do it. And I'm just like, no, like, if I just like decompress doing like something creative for a minute, I can go in and I can like sing while I'm doing the dishes. And doing the dishes isn't the problem. I just want to do something that makes me feel like joyful, and then I can joyfully do both things. And I think that it's for everything. Like, I don't mind cleaning, but I want to joyfully clean. I want to do it when my mind has been set right into the task. And it's the same thing. Sometimes I wish I could go back to school to, like, I could do my bachelor's again. I'm not really trying to go back to school because I'm over it. But like, I wish that I could go back to do what I did again, just because I feel like I could have enjoyed it. I could have joyfully done school instead of like, oh, I want to hang out with my friends. I'm just going to study and do what I need to do to pass the tests and to get the papers done and everything like that. At this stage in my life, I try to focus on how I can joyfully do tasks and how I can really get something out of it. So I feel like I would go back and I would study in a different way. I would write papers in a different way, in ways that helped me grow, not just in ways that checked the box. And so that's kind of the distinction I'm trying to make here, is that like, not only when you joyfully do something or when you slow down to enjoy it, do you check the box, but you grow a piece of yourself, again, joyfully, in the process. And that's really important, I think, for our mental health and for motivation to keep going.
No, I really appreciate those gems. I'm going to reflect on doing stuff joyfully, like, and getting to that point and what that looks like for everyone. I know for me, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I want to try that out. That seems like a fun methodology. What happens if like there's only like one thing that you are conscious of that brings you joy? Like, I hear what you're saying, like doing it joyfully. How do you set yourself up to do something joyfully? Because I know, at least for me, sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, okay, it's another day. Okay, like, what do I have to do today? All right. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, what were my 3 things that I did that I can look at and be like, okay, I did those 3 things, and just kind of like be happy with those things. If I don't do that, then I'm like, oh my gosh, was that day a waste? Case in point, yesterday, I had things I have a lot of things I should have done, but yesterday was Thursday. I recall waking up. I recall I had a meeting in the morning. Oh yeah, I had to deal with the lawyer stuff. So that I checked some lawyer stuff off. I did some stuff for my startup. And then like after that, I had lunch with my son, and then I went to sleep in the middle of the day, like 3 to 5. I'm living my own island life right now.
Joyful napping. I love it.
It was a joyful nap. I woke up and then I talked to you for however long we were on the phone, and then I guess I went to sleep again. For a long time. Yeah, we were on the phone for a minute. But like I just know that like in my mind I was like trying to work on the poster that I have to do, thinking about getting prepared for the semester, just like responsibilities, right? And like to your point, when can you joyfully do it? I did a podcast episode on campus on Wednesday, and I had a really good time doing that episode. It was great. It was fun. It was joyful for me. And then I spent some time outlining stuff for the assignments that I told you I have coming up. And I was able to do that in a joyful period, right? So, no, I think I'm definitely going to take this with me into the next week of like, how can I organize, like maybe make my whole task list of all the things I can do it and then start to do it when you believe you can attract joy around it. I'm excited. Also, side note to your I want to go back to school and redo it thing, I totally get what you mean. I really do. Cause like although like I did the sorority life thing, but there's parts of it I didn't participate in because I was so focused on I was getting a STEM degree science. Like I was very focused on getting through school and like, getting to that next level. And it's funny because of those things that were next level at that time, they don't matter to me as much. Like those aren't things, but those connections of like friendships or community and those deep things, those matter, I think, even more than the grades and stuff, especially going forward now. Like we're in a whole different economy than when we were going to school. Like this is definitely a more creative space. And so community is very important.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to follow up on your on how to do things joyfully that are like
Yeah, I'm
it's
ready. I'm curious.
yeah. So what I like to think about, because like not everything that I do is like, sometimes inner me is kicking and screaming and having a little tantrum, and so um I do have a problem with procrastination, because it's like, well, I want to do that, and so I've recognized that, and that's something that I'm working on, because I'm like, okay, how do I do both? How do I not put the thing off and do it joyfully? And so lately, what I've been trying to do, I think we talked last week about me taking care of future me taking care of me. And sometimes that means setting up future me for success. So like I knew we were waking up early this morning to record. So I laid out my clothes last night, and I made my coffee and everything like that. And I drink cold brew. So I just put it in the fridge in the cup, ready to go. It's just like, okay, like tomorrow me is going to wake up and she's going to have like this princess treatment. Just like, it's okay. Just take a shower, put these clothes on. I already got your coffee ready. Like, you got it, girl. And so, I mean, last night I was really tired. I didn't want to do those things. I didn't want to like clean the dishes before I went to bed. But I was thinking about this morning me, and I was like, how can I love this morning me? How can I make sure she wakes up feeling loved and taken care of? And so some of the things that I'm doing, I'm not doing like because it brings me joy in the moment. I'm doing it because I know that it's going to make me feel happier and more cared for in the future. So, sometimes I'll do tasks for work that the task itself doesn't make me joyful, but I know that at the end of the day, when I have that done, I know I'm going to feel really good and I'm going to feel proud of myself for having that done. So sometimes I'm not chasing whatever the task is. I'm chasing the feeling that I'm going to have when I've done that for myself, when I've built that for myself, when like it's just kind of like loving future you, because you're like, oh, like I also don't want to have to deal with that tomorrow. So if I do it today, then tomorrow me is going to be able to relax and not worry about it.
Oh, that's good. And I think that that could be like a whole segment in a course, honestly, to sit down and talk to someone about like that system, because it is a system or a strategy for like life, like, having it in your mind's eye that like what I'm doing right now, why I'm doing it isn't because I want to do the task, is because I'm preparing my future success. And I think that that's something that some people are taught very early in life. Like they
Yeah.
understand that as a core principle. Cause like that could even be like a core belief of like, if you hone in on a task or whatever, during this time. I think about athletes. I recently hung out with one of my good friends that's a well-known athlete in certain spaces, and like I think that that's a part of her core formula because she does that all the time. Where it's kind of like it's not really about the reps in this moment, or it's not really about it's about that feeling post that you're chasing, and you get there, and then you enjoy that feeling, and you set yourself up for success again. And, for me, the idea of a routine sounds like the formula, but that may not be the formula for me. I don't know. Like, Emily, I need to go and like, I've been like meditating on like, am I just not a routine person? Am I just more of like the day before I plan it and then we go with it type folk? This is a season? I feel like the books and the internet have really pushed routine in my face, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to have a routine. But like, I don't know. Waking up and going to bed at the same time. I think that that might work for me during one time of year. Like I feel like the fall, it's very easy to do that. In the summer, for me, I'm not trying to say it's impossible, but it feels impossible at times because I'm like traveling, like I just traveled to a different time zone, so it's not going to be the same time. And then I think about people who travel all the time. Are there routines? What is the routine in the routine? It's not doing it at the same time. It's just making sure the same things get done, right? Or is it the same?
So something that means a lot to me, I know like there's routine, but then there's also consistency. So I don't know kind of like where you fall with each of those words, like what they mean to you. Because for me, I don't see myself as someone with a routine because I don't like on Mondays I do this on, shout out to your life beyond belief because we're going to be doing this every Friday morning. Uh, so that'll be a little piece of our routine.
Mhm.
But for me, it's consistency because, like, as you know, I do travel a lot. I do fit a lot into my life. My weeks don't look the same every week, but I have different flexibility in my consistency. So I'm like, okay, I want to get up and work out every day. So sometimes that means like at one point I was trying to do like, okay, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I'm going to the gym and lifting. And then the other days I'm going to do a spin workout or I'm going to run outside. And that quickly turned into, well, now the gym is closed. So I guess I'm doing a spin workout today, even though I did a spin workout yesterday. So I think sometimes we have to define what consistency looks like and kind of like what that minimum requirement is for the different things on our list. So like, for, my job and for this and for, working out and everything like that, what is the minimum amount that I'll accept as continued momentum and as consistency and as working on that thing? Because I've never been able to do like, okay, this time of day works for this, and then I do this and everything like that. I've never been able to maintain that. But I can say, okay, I want to get all of these things done today and figure out how they fit day of. Um, and maybe that would give you the flexibility that you need in the routine. And the routine is just like you said, getting these tasks done every day.
I think again, like I said earlier, and I appreciate you painting that picture. I want to acknowledge that one, that strategy is something that I think can work. It just depends on what season you are in life. I know, like with me, like I'm in the season where okay, I teach in August like 2 days a week, so I know I have to be in that space 2 days a week, and so naturally, there are things that are coming and becoming a part of like my schedule, right? So there's
Mm,
like the non-negotiable things, and then there's like, okay, there's only but so many hours in the day. So where can I most consistently fit this thing in? So to your point, building on consistently, I can consistently fit in my like I go to burn boot camp. So I can do that at 5:30. I do that mostly at 5:30 in the evening. Although there is one coach that really wants me to figure out how to do it at 5:30 in the morning. I am not there yet. I don't know if I'll ever get there. But 5:30 PM is when I go and I get it done and I check it off. But I also want to make sure that I'm walking. And walking for me is something that I'm like, okay. I also like to walk in the evening because it's so hot or I'm waking up. I woke up one time this week at like 4 a.m. and tried to walk, and then I was like afraid of sprinklers. So I said, okay, 4 a.m. walking isn't for me. But I like tried it because I was trying to find where to fit the things. But I do
yeah.
appreciate your feedback of like consistency being the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, you do have a lot of things in your schedule that end up being fixed. And it does make it seem like,
I
no, I
only have
mean,
so
days where things are going to happen.
like okay, yeah, when you have to, like that's all. Like it's like okay, this is where this is where this is. And I don't know if I talked to you about it, but I'm really serious about like I think this fall, like an activity that I want to try because I'm in this like, oh, let me try new activities. I'm like interested in horseback riding. After this, I'm gonna go actually um watch someone do that because like I'm trying to find things that's like I mean a consistent activity that I do for myself that's fun. So like sometimes like doing like an art class or like a cooking class. This fall I'm like maybe horseback riding will be the thing. So the consistent thing I guess there is like consistently having something to look forward to for myself and something that
Yeah.
I know that like I can develop a skill around and maybe this is something that I'll continue to do or not. Try it. See how it goes.
I think that's I think that actually is kind of like a core concept of building your life beyond belief is, the new things that we try. So like not only are you talking about trying a new thing as in like horseback riding, you're also investing in yourself with that activity. You're making space and time for, like Tiana to do something joyful where your brain is relaxed and, you're discovering something new about yourself. And then I think that there's something in discovery. Like if you do things that kind of like continue to prime that discovery emotion in you and continue to make the world even bigger for yourself, it allows you to have bigger dreams, to have bigger visions for your life. One of the things that I think that before you can make your life bigger, you have to have the vision. Like you have to be able to see what your life could look like differently beyond where you are right now, beyond the present. Um, and so I think one of the things that I've always admired that you do is that you're always trying new things, whether it's, okay, I'm going to build this website, whether I'm going to build this podcast, whether I'm going to, go and get some more education around this. Okay, now I found this opportunity. Okay, now I talked to these people. I went to this conference. And I feel like you have always inspired me to push further. And it's beyond my belief because I'm like, okay, like I'm successful where I am. And then Tiana comes up and she's doing these things to raise the bar. And I'm like, okay, well, I can raise the bar too. Like I believe so. This is my friend. And if my friend can do it, I feel like maybe I can do it. And sometimes that's come with pep talks from Tiana, like where she's like, no, Emily, you can do this. You strive for this. Come on. Like I've seen you do X, Y, and Z. Of course you can do this. And so I think that part of creating that life that you want beyond what you have now is continuing to make your world bigger, to try new things. And sometimes they don't work. Sometimes it's not it. And then you come back to, what we're building here is community. So you come back to your community, talk to friends about it. Don't stay on an island. Don't keep your island time completely to yourself. Go and, talk about it, expand somebody else. Like I wouldn't be where I am without Tiana's pep talks. So like when I doubted myself, I'd go and she'd encourage me. And then I would go out into the world and spread my wings a little bit more. And because of that, I've been able to believe so much more for myself and create so much more for myself because the work is in you. It just needs your yes. You just need to explore it.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, this has been a really dynamic episode in a sense of like going through and understanding island time, more about like how to decide if is it routine or is it consistency for yourself, and also working from a place of joy. So I have some gems I'm looking forward to applying this week and beyond belief in my life. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Like Emily said, we're going to do this again next Friday. So we look forward to seeing you then. Sounds good?
Sounds great. We'll be here.
All right. Bye.
Bye, friends.